be careful how we say all this, because somebody will complain. I don't mind that. It's when you get done for something you feel is unfair, and quite often the bus lane is one of them. And we've been hearing from Barry from Cheltenham, who was given a £30 fine for driving in a bus lane in the town centre. He's had it quashed. So it's Barry Mason, went down Albion Street around the back of John Lewis, but he challenged the penalty, saying he hadn't seen the warning signs. There are a couple of signs on poles on either side of the road with the word bus lane, so you think, well, that's fair enough. They're painted in big letters on the road as well. But the tarmac is no different colour from the current tarmac you're on when you go straight into it. There's no sort of on-road divide, nor are there any dotted white lines to show exactly where it starts. So I had Barry on in the last hour, explained his confusion also about the signs.
First of all, I find the signs were too high. They're about 16 feet in the air.
Yep.
And the signs were cluttered. So and that day, it was particularly sunny, I remember, so I had my visor down, and there's no way you could see that sign. However, if you could have seen the sign and started to read the four signs up there, and looking up there, you could be fined for driving without due care and attention. So that's the first thing. The sign wasn't in the line of sight. And the other thing was the sign was on a white background, and the buildings behind the sign were also white, so it was very difficult to read that. And the tribunal also agreed with that, and they've told the council to repaint the signs so that it stands out more. And the other thing I think was a big disappointment. There's only two lanes in Albion Street, one going north for the bus lane, or the other one going south for traffic. So once you're in that bus lane, it's not possible to get out of it.
No, you can't. So you could either turn left behind John Lewis or turn right, but once you're in it, you're in it. Okay, you can't go anywhere else, because that is the whole of that side of the road. Listening to that is Scott Dixon. Now, Scott is a consumer and motoring disputes expert. Morning to you, Scott.
Good morning, Mark.
This is the small guy beating the big guy, really, in a way. From what you just heard, do you agree that, yeah, he had a case and that's why he's got his money back?
Yeah, I mean, this has been affirmed by the adjudicator of the Traffic Penalty Tribunal, who agreed that the road markings and signage at the location do not provide adequate warning and direction. And you cannot be expected to comply with road signs that are cluttered, obscured and confusing to the point where you cannot be expected to make a conscious and informed decision. And the signs and road markings are confusing. And once you've entered into that bus route only, there is no way out. And it's not a bus lane. I've checked with the Traffic Signs Manual, Chapter 3, Section 9, and calling it a bus lane is legally wrong on the road markings. Because if it was a bus lane, it would have a dotted taper line to fill you into the next lane of traffic. So it's only a bus-only route rather than a bus lane, because no other traffic can flow down that street, and it's a different system entirely.
So legally, yeah, you're right. So it says on it now, bus lane, but it's a bus-only route. So legally, if you end up as a motorist in a bus-only route, but it's not a bus lane, what's the difference legally, or is there any difference? Are you still going to get done for either?
Well, the markings are legally wrong because they're calling it a bus lane, and if it was a bus lane, it would have a 45-degree taper line to filter cars into the next line of traffic to avoid the bus lane. It's a bus-only route, so the markings are legally wrong, and they are classed as signage, and illegal signs equals illegal fines. And when you look at the no entry sign, which is on the opposite side, that should be on the left-hand side, underneath the other signage, with a white plate which says accept buses, to give improved clarity for motorists to avoid entering it.
This is interesting. So in a statement from the County Council, Scott, they say, while we respect the adjudicator's decision on this individual case, we have made minor adjustments to some signs and lines to improve clarity for drivers. What's fascinating, we need to get back out and see what they've done, take some photographs and send them to you. We really do. We were surprised by the outcome. We expect all road users to drive according to the weather conditions and take notice of advance warning signs, something which the adjudicator did not find fault with. We've considered the adjudicator's findings. We see no grounds, nor did the adjudicator, on which to stop enforcement at this location. or to cancel previous penalty charge notices. Well, I'm fascinated to cancel previous penalty charge notices, because if Barry proved his point, there could be hundreds of people listening to this who've got done on Albion Street for exactly the same reasons as Barry, couldn't there?
Yeah, precisely. And a decision has been made on that, and the point has been proven. And local authorities adhere to standards when it suits them. But the law cuts both ways. And Gloucestershire Council should review and refund all motorists who have been unfairly fined based on this decision and information that I've just given. And I would encourage those who have already been unfairly fined to appeal. And the council ought to review the signage and markings around that junction to look at what changes can be made before any enforcement resumes, and turn off the cameras. Because when you look at across the road from Gloucester Place, there should be another sign which indicates right only, for traffic to turn right only to avoid it. So it's not clear.
It's not No, there's no right only sign at the moment. So you either turn left to go behind John Lewis, but there's no right only sign. So you just feel like you just flow straight through, then you're on the bus lane. This is fascinating. Okay, we'll get some photos taken. And can we email them to you and get your thoughts?
Yeah, please do. And some might say that the lack of clarity is deliberate, as it is a good revenue earner for Gloucestershire Council. And if they didn't have any issues on that, they should just issue the refunds if it's not a revenue-raising exercise.
Really interesting point. Thank you. We'll be back in touch with you if we can, Scott. Thank you for that.
Please do, Mark.
Really interesting. Okay, so that was a statement from the County Council. So we'll take some more photos and see if what Scott says has to be done has been done. They have done some things, but there might be many of you who got done on Albion Street. We'll have a little look into it.